Hello, everyone. It's your host, Amanda Eke, and I have some amazing news. Starting this fall, The Poet Speaks is coming to your TV screens. Yes, that's right. After 8 amazing seasons as a podcast, The Poet Speaks with Amanda Eke is now a TV show, airing on the Archaeology channel's new streaming service, Heritage. Everyone get ready for a visual feast of spoken word performances and deep dives into the minds of poets from all over the world. Now, something extraordinary is coming, and you won't want to miss a single moment. Stay tuned. Our next guest is a speaker, published author, educator, and singer born in California but residing in the Denver metro area. As an artist and wanderer, her mission is to be an example of authentic expression and hard-won wisdom in the face of the status quo. Her first full-length publication, Whispers and Conversations, was published in June of 2024 by World Stage Press. Everyone, welcome to the Poet Speaks podcast, Ralonda Simmons. Ralonda, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're a very lovely person with a lot of lovely accomplishments and background. So we're so excited to hear you and talk to you today. Well, first and foremost, tell us where you are speaking to us out of today. What states? Where are you at in the world right now?
Well, yeah, I'm out here in Aurora, Colorado. It's lovely, sunny. I can see the mountains from my front porch, and it's just a beautiful day.
Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. Much nicer than this New York weather. So that sounds like a good one. Some nice, lovely mountain views and ranges. You just find yourself every morning, you just walk outside and just breathe in that fresh Colorado air.
Usually, yeah. Sometimes it gets a little smoggy, but when it's not smoggy, it's the best for sure.
Not smoggy is the best for sure, for sure. Well, tell us, what was your born and raised? Did you grow up in Colorado? Where were you raised?
No, I actually was raised in a lot of different places, and I have poetry about kind of the battle of trying to figure out where I'm from. I was born in Orange, California, but I spent a lot of time in Louisville, Mississippi, Goose Creek, South Carolina, Colorado, but I've been here the longest. So I'm from all of those places in different ways, but I've been here for a while.
Nice, nice, nice. Tell us, so where and when did poetry then find you? Was it in the childhood that you went to and grew up in a multitude of different places, or is it when you set foot in Colorado? Tell us, where did the poetry find you?
I started writing the way I just kind of like threw myself into it when I was around 13 or 14. So that wonderful year going from 8th grade to 9th grade. And then it really picked up in the 10th grade. So I've been writing a while. I found it based on it was kind of like a way to have catharsis and without leveraging the spaces I had at the time, which weren't necessarily always safe for that. So I always know at the end of the day, I can pick up a pen and jot down what I'm thinking on a paper. And that's when that really started.
For sure, for sure. What did you, like you said, the magical time from 8th grade to 9th grade, what did you find yourself writing about then?
Oh, like some angst, teenage poetry can be pretty angsty. That's why it's up in the closet, not in the book and not on any stage. Crushes, of course, probably something my mom didn't allow me to do and I really wanted to do it. Just all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's such a common thing too. I think the angst of teenagehood and the angst of just, I think it's a difficult time because you're going through so many changes during that time. Like when you're a teenager, you're fighting so hardly for your identity, but like I will say, you're either cursed or blessed with a good family and a good, whatever is a support system. A lot of teens, they don't really get that. So, I think it's dope that, you found that outlet of writing, and, the hope is always more teens, more youth find outlets that are healthy, such as poetry and writing.
Absolutely. And really, I started by reading. They say a lot of writers, you can tell a writer as a child because they read a lot. Not always, but a lot of us read a lot. I was always in somebody's library, no matter what city I was in.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then you said something really that made me think too. Like, yeah, you're going through the angst and transition, but all the teenagers are going through that at the same time, also, which kind of heightens it as well.
Yeah, a lot of no, I think it's such a difficult age, honestly. And I think more grace should be given, more of some reverence to the kids.
Yeah, don't just always be looking at them like like they're a problem. Like, why
Yeah,
not ask what's going on, you know? That's
facts, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a bit about, I love the quote in your bio. You say, as an artist and wanderer, your mission is to be an example of authentic expression and hard won wisdom in the face of the status quo. Now, those are fighting words. I like that a lot. Tell me, what does that mean though to you, and what makes someone put something like that in their bio? So what does that how does that encompass your DNA?
Well, definitely, I can expound upon it. So I want to start with the status quo. We live in a world and a society that kind of encourages positivity at all costs. So as far as me with my hard-won wisdom, learning through all of this stuff and being willing to share what it is I've learned in my poetry and otherwise, even though we live in a place where people don't always have the most patience for what a person's really thinking and what they're really feeling. They just want you to say, "Oh, I'm fine," depending on what they ask you. Like, how are you doing today? "Oh, I'm fine," even though the person is not fine. So I kind of apply that as a philosophy of my life. Like, I want to be authentic to what I'm feeling, to what I'm noticing in myself, and to also share that and be an example as a way to give others permission to do the same thing. Because a lot of times you don't know something's possible until you see someone else do it, or even to go further, you don't give yourself permission until you see somebody else do it. Now, of course, we want it to be as healthy as possible, but I want to be an example of people who are able to, come out of that shell and admit the truth to themselves and then make art out of it. Really, that's what I'm trying to do with my stuff.
For sure, for sure. So you say I love this as an artist, but the part that strikes me, wanderer. Well, why do you call yourself a wanderer?
Well, I don't know if you're into astrology, but I have heavy Sagittarius placements. I have a Sagittarius rising and a Sagittarius moon. So I find my best lessons are from going around the world and coming back. I've studied abroad in Ghana during undergrad. I've taken a 10-day solo trip to Thailand, a 7-day solo trip to Costa Rica. Can't wait to do it again. I want to go to South Africa. I want to go to Belize. I want to go anywhere that'll have me, to be honest with you. So that's kind of what I meant. Like, if I could figure out a way to make a business out of wandering.
Yeah, what you're a fellow Sag sister in Christ, because me too. I'm a Sag. And nah, I mean that.
You know what I mean, then, right?
Yeah, like I've traveled solo all over the world. I feel the same way. If I could, I mean, if they could just pay me.
Hello. Come on. Manifestation. If you hear me, if you're listening. Okay.
If they could just pay me, I'd be gone yesterday, last month. I would. I mean, no, for real. It's no, I love the idea, and I think I wonder, especially as a poet, right, as an artist, the idea of solo travel to me, I completely agree with you. I gained so much from leaving my space and then coming back to my space, or coming in back into my space, because it's a new form, a new season of myself when I kind of get to plant myself in different situations, different environments, and then always coming back to myself. No, I completely agree with you. Tell me a bit how that affects though your poetry and your writing, having that kind of, those displacements of being a wanderer but then always returning? How does that affect how you write your poetry then?
That's a good question. First off, one of the reasons I really love to travel to other places is to hear other people's perspectives and learn about their culture, um, so that I can put my own into context, right? I like listening to people talk, the cadence of their voices, seeing what they wear, the smells of the food wherever I am, whatever the sky looks like, what their monuments look like, et cetera, experience all of that, and then get home and write something. Sometimes it doesn't wait because I have this thing where I get bothered by something and not necessarily aggravated, but something will set off in my mind and it'll just keep going, like rolling a marble in a hand. And it doesn't stop until I have to write it out. And a lot of the times when I'm traveling or learning something new, I'm gaining material that's kind of put in there subconsciously and then it'll come out.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Well, now tell me, when did you kind of discover this about yourself? At what stage, especially in your poetry writing career, what stage did you discover this was kind of your thing? This was, like you said, that marble rolling and coming out. When did you discover this was you?
Strangely enough, this year.
Wow.
I've always done these things. It's so funny how you just go about life being yourself and doing things intuitively and not necessarily knowing what you're doing. And then you have a time where you have to sit and think. And then it comes out like this makes complete sense because I was built this way, but I just didn't have words for it or know that that's necessarily what I was doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's always been there. You just didn't necessarily maybe have the articulation for it yet, but it's always been there. No, I think that's so common. No, I think that's very true of a lot of people. It's because that goes back into what you're saying, until you see someone else doing something, you're not even sure if you can do it, right? So that idea of representation, seeing someone do something, it almost helps you bring that articulation to life. Like, oh no, that's actually what I've always wanted to do. I've never seen it before. It's always been inside of me. No, I think that's absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Now, tell me a bit about let's changing gears here a bit. Let's talk about your first full-length publication, which was Whispers and Conversations. Beautiful cover there, which was published this year, June of 2024. Tell us a bit about how has this been a long time coming? How did it feel to get it out? And tell us what Whispers and Conversations, that title has some gravity to it. Tell us a bit about how this whole piece came together.
Absolutely. So I went through this program during COVID, which is called the Community Literature Initiative out of LA. And we did it online. It's like a 10-month program where you have a 3-hour workshop every week. And then you do a lot of workshopping, a lot of writing for about 6 months of that program. And then the rest of it, they help you put together your manuscript and get it in the book form where you could either get it picked up by a press or self-publish it yourself. So that's pretty much where this started. I graduated in 2021 and got signed shortly after that, but it kind of took some time for it to get published and go through the process. So yes, a long time coming.
Absolutely, a long time coming. So tell us a bit about the meaning, Whispers and Conversations. Tell us a bit about how what that title means and what people can look for in that piece.
Yeah, it was originally titled Conversations, but the press didn't like it just being called Conversations. So I worked on changing it up, and a fellow writer named Kamiko White with the press actually helped me to change it to Whispers and Conversations. The whispers really this is all whispers that I don't necessarily tell everyone else, except or at least I didn't before I published a book about it. The conversations is really anything, nothing on this earth happens without a conversation. There's a conversation going on right now. And it's also not titled, it's tied to the sections of the book. It was a way to put diverse kind of subjects together. So there's conversations with origins, like where I'm from. There's conversations with family. There's conversations with the intersection of being Black and woman. Conversations with the past, writing as a practice, sadness, etc. So it was conversations for the longest, but now it's whispers and conversations.
Absolutely. Tell me a bit about, I mean, that's such an interesting concept, just the idea of conversations. And that's kind of the impetus of your whole full length. Tell us a bit about the importance of conversations and why that really was the hidden point of your piece. What is it about conversations that make your wheels turn?
Basically, the world is constructed on conversations. It's constructed on language. This is a world that I've basically constructed with myself. As you can see, she's looking outward, but she's also looking inward. And then it kind of just came to me as like I don't know if you ever hear like a little whisper, like it should be this. This is how you should organize the book. This is what you should call it. So really all of that, because I was struggling for the longest, like how should I organize this thing? What should I call it? Like I have all these poems about all these different things. How can I even pull this together? And then something was said, these are all conversations. Everything in this world is built off of conversations between two or more people or just with people themselves. So that's pretty much where the convoluted answer of why.
Hey, no, that's an interesting concept. The idea of conversation. Like right now, we're having a conversation. Daily, I know I have conversations with myself 24/7 in the shower, in the car. Oh, after this, I'll have a conversation with myself. I'm eating dinner. I mean, just the 24, you are correct. The world is built off of conversations, whether that be with the self, with people around us. Tell us what has been a significant conversation in your life that maybe you even wrote a poem off of for your first full length?
That's a good question. I don't even know. Here's one. During the pandemic and after George Floyd and the various tragedies, I had a conversation with myself, and it resulted in me needing to call in Black that day. So I have a poem that's about that.
Wow. Tell us, call in Black. What does that mean?
I'm calling in to work. I'm not coming because of my despair from all this crap that's happening in the world. And I cannot with you and your PDFs today, Sharon.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, word. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, those were some times for sure. Tell us, what was that conversation like? If you'd like to share with us, what was that conversation like that you had with the call in Black?
It was, because I'm kind of like hard on myself. Like this isn't a reason to call in. You got to be stronger than this, even though you're seeing something that the average normal human being would fall into despair reasonably. But just like that, Protestant work ethic and ancestral stuff over here, like you got to be strong. You got to just show up and put the mask on versus the person that needs care. That's a human being. Like these two talking, and the one that needed to be a human being won that.
Yeah. The human being won that. Now that's an interesting point to make. Wow. Yeah. I mean, so the book kind of just explores those types of those internal dialogues, battles with self, but also the conversations with those around you.
Yeah, I even have one that I wrote in response to the Robert E. Lee statue coming down in
Mhm.
Charlottesville. So it was a conversation with the world and conversation with those people who try to alter history.
Yeah.
The reason why there was a Robert E. Lee statue in the first place, the
Yeah.
reason why people felt the need to bring out torches, conversation between me and them to basically say, I know what you're doing. I see you. And yeah.
What's the response been? So it's pretty recent that this has came into the world, but what has the response been so far?
From what I hear, people are digging it. I haven't heard a lot yet. I'm not one of those people that's gonna be like, what'd you think of my book? What did you think of my book? So I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
What I
go ahead, go ahead.
it was from what the feedback that I've gotten, it's been pretty good.
For sure,
Or
for sure. What is your internal, I know you said you're kind of hard on yourself. What is your internal conversation with yourself been since your debut has came out?
kind of thinking about the next book. And then I also really haven't had a lot of time to really think about it because I'm looking for work. That's one thing. And I'm also working on my second master's, an MFA in fiction. Learning, my main focus is to learn how to write the best romance novel, and then just keep doing it eventually, just like hella romance novels because I like reading them and I want to love writing them.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of switched a little bit away from poetry because I was working on this book and then my second book because I was going through that same program I was talking about earlier as a TA, and as part of the TA they help you put together another book. So yeah, a little burned out honestly. Just need
Yeah.
to go out and perform. That's
Yeah.
really what it is. Go out and perform, um, which I
Yeah.
have been.
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
I was going to say, which I've been doing that. I've been going out to perform and selling books hand to hand. It feels really good getting in, writing the epitaph or whatever in there. Like, thanks for the support. It's pretty awesome. I sold like 3 yesterday. So that feels great. Wow.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. It's yeah, that idea of just I need to go out and just kind of perform, be with the people. Writing, working on the projects keeps you like so like condensed in your own world to where you're just like, oh my God, I need to leave. Like you said, the wanderer spirit. You need to go wander to go rejuvenate yourself to go to eventually come back to yourself. So I definitely feel where you're coming from. So romance novels, that's fun.
Yes.
I like that. That's fun.
Yes.
Tell me, are you? Will that include poetry eventually, though? And I'm sure you already write poems that are, whatever romantic thesis.
Can be sometimes. Not always.
Where the romance, where that kind of spirit comes from to write in that arena.
I just love when one is done really well.
Yeah.
And I read, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's this writer named Beverly Jenkins who writes African American historical novels and romance novels. And it's just so tight. Like the idea of writing a complicated heroine, having her find love in the end. Like, let me give myself a little bit of hope over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I like I like romance novels. I don't know. I'm a bit unhinged. So I like the kind of unhinged with a twist and tinge. So like her with the twist and tinge of some Tubi mixed in there with the twist.
Oh, like the urban fiction kind of thing?
Urban fiction mixed with mixed with just nonsense, mixed with like some horror too. I don't know.
Yeah,
My spirit gravitates towards different things. I don't.
that's fair. I think there's a lady, might be several folks on Amazon that write romance novels with a person and a dinosaur.
Okay, now I'm not. Now,
I mean, I think you okay in terms of that line. That's a lot. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not quite on that, like, that type of thing. But if that's people's thing, that's cool. That's not my type of thing. I still like the human on human interaction.
Yeah.
But I guess I just like the unhinged. I do like the urban romances. I don't know. I just feel like with romance, I like when there's just a wrench thrown in the circle. Just
Yeah,
something
no.
different, just something different than the usual, the usual schmusual, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, I guess.
I read this one a couple years ago. It was like this lady was married to this man, businessman, and he was driving up to Chicago and he got in some storm or he got carjacked or something, and then he went missing.
Okay.
And then she's like, oh, I guess like went through the whole mourning process, ended up going to a city in the South, and he's there. He doesn't even know that that's her. He can't just flat out and be like, I am your wife. So the novel is basically them going through, basically them starting their relationship over again as him as this other person because he's an amnesiac and has built a whole nother life. And her. So that's a little twisted, a little not middle of the road for sure.
That's dope. Okay, I like that. No, that sounds very interesting. Okay, yeah, something like that throws just a wrench in the whole plot. No, I like that. I like that a lot. Dope. So so it's interesting to me. You said you didn't even. So I asked you the conversation you had with yourself after you released your first full length publication. Now for you, I mean, it's like it's always interesting when I talk to artists. They release something. There's never the time to just sit back and be like, hey, I did that. I did that. Just give yourself that grace, like, hey, you worked your booty off. Time to just relax. Let me go celebrate, right? It always seems to be we're on to the next. Don't rest on your laurels. What do you think, my Sag sister in Christ? Why do you think that is? Why do you think you function like that, where you don't kind of just lean back and say, hey, that was the first time I ever did that. My first full-length book of prose and poems.
I think it's fire sign behavior, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I did have a release event that was really cool. That was at the Vintage Theater in Aurora.
Cool.
Press Hiram Sims came out from California and hosted me, and I had some friends who were my feature openers. My mom got on stage, and that was part of the celebration. But you're right. Like my orientation is to accomplish something and then just keep it moving. But I do need to build more intentional celebration spaces in my life because that's not my nature. Yeah. I'll celebrate other people all day. I'm one of those people. But me, like, that anybody can do that.
Not really. No. Most people can't. Honestly, a book is no joke. So no, yeah, I found that kind of interesting. A lot of poets, artists, it's just not being able to just, I don't know, like just congratulate yourself. Just be like, hey, I did that. Let me just go, like take myself on a holiday, go do something nice, take the weekend off. How about that concept? Not stop working for maybe like a week, just take a week off and just do something that just honor your spirit that you don't have to worry about progressing in, right? I'm just here still celebrating how great my great life is and just what I've accomplished. Now it's kind of like, why is that? Why do we not just rest sometimes,
It's always the hustle, I guess. You can't. I feel like the answer to that question is centuries old.
Yeah.
Like some multi-generational something that I don't even know. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that sounds amazing though. So you had the release party in Aurora. I mean, that was what, for those that listen to this, a lot of first time writers, maybe they're looking to get books published. How much part of the game is having, you think, a release party and being able to really have your work celebrated in that type of way? Do you think all of that kind of aspect, having that kind of opening launch, do you think that's very important for someone's publication, a chapbook, a book? How important do you think that aspect of marketing is? Because I think a lot of people, they write their book, they write the publication for the press. Then I'd say about 70% of it is now that marketing aspect, which is not taught in school, which is not taught really anywhere. You got to learn in the streets, if you will. How important do you think, though, that aspect is?
Naturally, I don't, but my press insisted, and I'm glad they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if nobody shows up?
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
But people did show up. I had coworkers come. I had people from a leadership program I was in come, fellow poets. So yeah, I think if it is in you to put on a launch, do it. If it's not, find something else. But I would probably, now it was stressful getting it all together. But once it was done, it was very rewarding.
Yeah, that rewarding aspect for sure, for sure. Absolutely, absolutely. No, that's great. And I think that's great for people to hear. That is definitely, there is importance. There is a key value in that aspect of your art, which is you do have to bring it to the world some way, somehow. You know what I mean? That's how you get that traction going. So thank you so much for sharing that. All right. So tell me a bit. Was there a moment that you knew you were a writer? Was there just a moment in time? I know we talked a bit earlier about your childhood, having that multitude of places and spaces you've been in. But was there just a shock value moment where you were just like, I am a writer?
No, not really. I'm still, it's not something I'm still dealing with because I've been at it for so long, but I think one of the major confirmations of it was choosing to go to college and get a writing degree, and have the power to concentrate on poetry, studying it and writing it and all of that. I don't know if I've ever, I don't know. I don't think if I did, I sincerely can't remember as far as like an epiphany.
Sure. Was there a stage in your life you think? I know you said that awkward moment between 8th grade and 9th grade. Was there ever that kind of stage though, where you were just, this was all clicking together, that you could do this long term, to where you could actually see yourself publishing a book? I mean, was there a season in your life that just made everything started making sense with you being a poet and a writer?
Yeah, in a strange way from trying to run away from it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Like listening to folks ask me what are you going to do with that writing degree? Are you going to teach? Which is nothing wrong with being a teacher, but you need specific training to do that, that I did not have. And so after I graduated with my writing degree, I did all I could to get an office job to basically deny what I was trying to do and what my vision for what I had for myself.
Yeah.
But I noticed as I had a pattern of doing that, finding jobs and just kind of being miserable because I wasn't doing my thing, it was kind of like, oh, you might as well just go ahead and do that thing that you're naturally supposed to be doing because you will suffer if you don't.
Yeah.
Essentially, find some kind of way to add it back. And I always have my phone on me, writing. So, yeah, there have been times in my life where I couldn't write because nothing was happening. From reading an essay in undergrad, I call that an essential delay. Sometimes you have to collect materials and synthesize them, and then they just come out like an overfilled closet when you open the door.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. Just trying to run away from I'm supposed to be a writer, just kind of running away from that and trying to find more sensible things.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. It's funny the life you try. It's like that one movie, what is it? Final Destination. Your ass is gonna get hit by that truck, whether you like it or not. It's gonna come back around and come and get you, no
Well,
matter what.
you should be driving the truck.
Yes,
On
yes.
drive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now it's interesting how our passions they can be, they're stocked down by so many different things, whether that be family, parents, right? A lot, like you said, you had people telling you, I mean, what are you gonna do with that, right? And then somehow it's, but your purpose in your soul, you can't get rid of that. You'll be until you find that happiness, you'll be unhappy everywhere. So no, I love that. I love that you at least, I really even discovered that in yourself, because that in itself takes quite a lot for a lot of people to get there. So that's really what's up. All right, Ralonda, thank you so much. You've really just dropped some gems. We had such a great conversation so far today. Now, the last question we ask every poet on the Poet Speaks podcast: why do you need to get your words out?
I need to get my words out as a form of processing, but then also I know that somebody somewhere needs to hear whatever it is I've said because they felt the same way, or they didn't know that the feeling was possible, or they didn't know that the processing of the feeling was possible. Nothing I really do is just for me. I need to probably get better at being a little bit more selfish, but I don't know when that'll happen. So it's not just for me.
All right, all right. She said she needs to get the words out there, not just for her. All right, well, thank you so much, Ralonda. And tell us as we wrap up, final question, what is next for you in 2024? Where can we find all of your amazing work? So drop any social media links, website links for folks to pick up your book and all your good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Ralonda the Poet with 2 E's. I can put the chat for my book on World Stage Press, Whispers and Conversations, that you can buy. Really, those are the two. I need to be better at social media too, speaking of marketing. But those are the two main places.
For sure, for sure. All right. Any big plans for the rest of that 2024? I know you say you're performing some places. Anywhere you want to drop?
I'm resting and basically figuring myself out, doing training for facilitation for the Center of Creative Leadership, and just really focusing on setting goals for next year.
For sure, for sure. All right. And we'll be looking forward to, and of course, we are looking forward to that second piece, that second book, as well as those romance novels coming soon, shortly, at least hopefully. We're very excited. All right, Ralonda, thank you so much. And everyone, Ralonda's links will be down below in the details section, no matter where you are listening to this podcast. Again, her links will be down below in the details section, no matter where you are listening to this podcast. All right, Ralonda, thank you so much for being a guest today on the Poet Speaks podcast.
For having me. This is great.
Absolutely. And again, everyone, check out all of Ralonda's amazing work and check out the Poet Speaks podcast, no matter where you listen to your podcast. Bye, everyone.